a curatorial teaching and research project organized by the Chipstone Foundation in the Mock Art Museum. It tells the story of Mrs. M, a late 19th century woman of the world who collects objects in order to tell the story of cosmopolitan early America. And this gallery presents her collection of quite remarkable early American decorative arts. You can learn a lot about Mrs. M by looking closely at the space, looking at the design choices she made, looking at the objects she collected, reading the notes that she left for us in her ledger book, looking closely at her scrapbook, and even listening to Mrs. M herself in the Pepper's Ghost Illusion, Visitors May Access, in the corner of her cabinet.
What is America? Who is America? Where is America? Is it a place? Or is it an idea?
These clues help us understand her as a remarkable woman, as a person who's interested in object-based evidence. She's intellectually curious, intellectually adventurous, and empathetic. She believes there are connections between the ways we study the past and the way we live and understand the world in the present. In the fall of 2016, I had the opportunity to teach a graduate research seminar in art history at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. The seminar, Curating Mrs. M's World, brought together 7 art history grad students. And their job was to curate 7 objects that I selected from the Chipstone Foundation's collection, alongside and for Mrs. M. In effect, Mrs. M became our co-curator for the exhibition. Throughout the project, the students had to conduct not only deep art historical research, but to think about what we came to call the category of Mrs. M. How we could apply that research in a museum setting to display objects through the lens of this historical figure who is curious, intellectually adventurous, empathetic, and ethical. In order to do this work, my students had to think creatively, they had to work across disciplines, and they had to collaborate with a whole range of local artists and makers in order to tell meaningful stories that would be meaningful not only in the context of Mrs. M's cabinet, but that would be worthy of inclusion in an exhibition in the Mock Art Museum.
So what we have here is a 16th century lead glazed earthenware stove tile. And Mrs. M is really using it to convey this importance of collecting things from other countries in the 19th century and this commodity of collecting. It's a 2-part installation. So first it will be here, and it's going to be seen in conjunction with this sketch that she is using to create her own custom-made garland stove tile. There's a 2-part installation, so it will first be located here, and then it will eventually move out into a hutch into her main living area.
So what I have here is a Centennial vase from the 1876 Centennial exhibition in Philadelphia, made by W.T. Copeland & Sons, a British pottery workshop, specifically for sale at the Centennial exhibition. As you can see, the vase has 3 eagles that are draped in American flags. It was my belief that Mrs. M would find this display of patriotism, along with the celebration of the centennial of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. She would find that it focused too much on the New England aspect of America. And so I designed this bouquet of flowers using the Victorian language of flowers in order to subtly critique the vase while still displaying it in a way that was aesthetically fitting with the with Mrs. M's cabinet.
So what I have here to show you today is a 19th century African-American folk ceramic. We think it's a continuation of the Bakongo tradition from Africa, mixed with Southern voodoo traditions. It's really cool because found objects are plastered onto the surface of a vase and then covered with metallic paint. Mrs. M's going to display it in her office here with x-rays to show how she's researching it and to potentially show the objects a little bit more cleanly than what we could see just with our naked eye.
The Chicago picture, which was created by Frankie Burley for Copeland and Spode in conjunction with the 1893 Columbia Exposition. We are displaying it in a little bit of a subversive manner within the wheel panel of Mrs. M's cabinet because of the somewhat subversive subject matter that the vignettes discuss on the picture. One in particular that we're paying attention to in regards to display is this vignette of Miss O'Leary and her cow who supposedly knocked over the lantern that started the Great Chicago Fire. We then have a book here which you pull out of the shelf to activate the diorama inside that plays off of other scapegoated women throughout history, such as Eve Tituba and Hester Prynne.
Since the time of Eve, women have been blamed for cataclysmic events. When I added the Chicago picture to my cabinet, I immediately found a troubling connection between the tale of poor Mrs. O'Leary and that of countless other women, wrongly charged throughout history as the hapless or intentional harbingers of tragedy and mayhem.
This is the George Washington ironstone character jug. It was crafted and patented by British potter Sidney Starkey in 1892. This character jug will go inside this corner cabinet in conjunction with a glass installation by international artist Beth Lipman. Playing on the 19th century diorama, Washington will be inverted down, kind of coming at you with Lipman's glass sculpture in the form of a waterfall pouring into a 19th century vessel. Her waterfall will act as a symbol that represents all of the fractured views of patriotism and American freedom that George Washington becomes associated with, and with the act of the waterfall pouring out of his head, we're symbolizing, the literally throwing out of the old and leaving room for the new progressive ideas that Mrs. M collects within her larger cabinet.
Have a puzzle jug. It was made by Edward Bingham in 1880 to 1890. It's a 19th century take on a 16th century original idea based off of these puzzle jugs that were small, used for bar games and taverns, kind of a fun joke, a challenge to figure out how to drink out of them. And in the second part of the display, we're going to be moving it down onto the main part of her desk, where we'll see her studying it, sketching it, getting to know how it works, finding the voice. It's kind of an in-process look of how Mrs. M learns her objects and displays them.
So this is the TIG. It was made between 1870 and 1890. This little figure here is possibly King Henry, which is a story that's centered around the invention of the multi-handled cup. And the story goes that he was hunting and he went to an inn to get a drink. And the servant girl spilled the drink on him and ruined his gloves. And so he invented the multi-handled cup so he could grasp it better when she handed it to him.